Hello, this is Ben119 and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to carry on with my 8-day challenge in Pikmin 1. So we are up to day 2 so far, and we're going to be going to the Forest of Hope. So today we're going to be growing a lot more reds, we're going to find the yellow Pikmin, and we're going to be getting 6 ship parts. So we'll have 7 out of 30 by the end of today. And it is a pretty tight day. If you're fairly new to doing the 8-day challenge like I am, it is a pretty tight day to do. But with a little bit of practice and with quite a few attempts, you will get there in the end. And it is satisfying when you do get it in one day. And I know it took me quite a few tries, but it didn't take forever, to be honest. I expected it to take a lot longer. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take out all your reds and you want to put them on this gate right here. So I like to disband them onto the gate because it makes sense. And what I like to do is I like to leave one red to get that pellet, and then I like to get this pellet over here. If you disband a Pikmin once it's taken a pellet to the onion, like on the Wii version, you're basically able to grab it quicker, because if you don't, you have to watch like the animation of it looking up at the pellet, going into the onion, and it's slow. So a few things that I might talk about is differences between GameCube and Wii, because I am playing on the Wii version. I know I didn't really mention that in the first part. But in my opinion, the Wii version is easier for beginners, because I feel like the Pikmin behave better. I feel like the controls are slightly easier for beginners as well. The game is slightly faster because you don't have to watch the nighttime cutscene at the end of days. You have more control of the cursor, so you can throw Pikmin further, you can whistle Pikmin from further away. I find killing enemies easier, I find C-sticking and stuff easier. The only thing I find harder is throwing Pikmin fast, because the way you can do it is by using the cross on the Wii Remote to C-stick them forward and backwards and then throwing them, or you can run around and get them in a tight swarm and then mash the A button and you can throw them fast that way as well. So what I'm doing right now is I'm growing loads of reds, so I'm getting that 10 pellet and basically getting all the pellets that I can get, and I'm killing all these enemies because we want to get a load of reds so then we can take on some big Bulborbs. And we just need a lot of reds because we're going to be carrying a lot of stuff today. So the first quarter of this day is just basically growing Pikmin. A few other differences with like the GameCube version is in the distant spring area, there's a glitch that you need to do in the GameCube version to be fast, but there's a way around not having to do this glitch in the Wii version, so technically this is like a glitchless 8-day run, which is pretty cool when you say it like that, because there isn't really any glitches, because you're used to there being glitches. But yeah, that's pretty cool I guess to know. You can still do the bullbear clip in the Wii version, it's just I chose not to do it, because I found that the other way of doing it in the Wii version is easier. So we're just going to finish growing these Pikmin. Something else to note as well about pellets is the ones that are getting in last you want to speed up. There's like an unwritten rule in the Pikmin series, like especially for speedrunners, that you want to speed up whatever's going to finish last. Because obviously the stuff in front of it doesn't matter that much, it's just the last thing that's getting in that matters. You have a bit of leeway here anyway because it takes a while to pluck all of these Pikmin, so yeah, you've got to wait around. But obviously the quicker the things get in, the quicker you can pluck them as well. And that didn't really make much sense. So by the end of this section, depending on how good like the luck you get, you should have between like 75 and 80 Pikmin. The reason you'll have more or less is because when you kill the dwarf Bulborb, sometimes they drop pellets and sometimes they don't. And even if they do drop pellets, sometimes they drop like red pellets, sometimes it's a blue pellet, so obviously that can vary as well. So yeah, I have 79, I think 79 is pretty good. Usually I end up with about 77, so 79, 80, that's like really good. Obviously you have to spend a tiny bit longer plucking them, but it gives you a little bit more leeway because we can lose more reds in this day, and obviously it'll make a few things faster, like knocking down that wall where the yellow Pikmin are. That'll be a little bit faster because I have a few extras on the wall. So what I'm doing now is I'm basically going to nectar them all up, because once they're nectared they're going to be a lot faster and it will make carrying things and doing like things like that faster. That's obviously very important. I think something else, when I played this casually, I think a lot of casual players basically underestimate how important nectar is. Because nectar actually does make a massive difference to how fast and slow your Pikmin are. And you will see that in this series. We're going to be using a lot of nectar, and if it wasn't for nectar I don't think I could even do this in 8 days. So we're going to put like most of our Pikmin on that wall. I've just put most of them on the wall, and we've made sure to take with us 30 Pikmin. And I'm not even sure if it's faster to do this now or to do it at the end of the day, but I'm used to doing it now. I think it's a good use of multitasking because you're having the wall being knocked down, and while it's being knocked down you're getting a ship part. So in my opinion it's efficient. I think getting it at the end of the day as well is efficient because you're waiting on other parts to get back, so it doesn't really matter either way. I'm just used to doing this. So what I like to do there is I like to put 29 on the part, and then I like to throw the extra Pikmin that's with me on the part. If I put all 30 on there then wake up the Bulborb, sometimes the Bulborb takes long to wake up, and by the time he's woken up he sees the part and eats the Pikmin. But if I throw like one extra Pikmin onto it as I wake up the Bulborb, I'll know that I'll have plenty of time to lure the Bulborb out the way. Technically it's a few seconds slower obviously, but I like to go for consistency rather than speed in this game because in my opinion consistency is more important, because if you lose a lot of Pikmin you can like mess up your run, and that's not very good either. So I killed that dwarf Bulborb. Be careful killing that Bulborb in case any of the Pikmin go onto the big Bulborb, or in case the little Bulborb screams and wakes up the big Bulborb, because that could be really bad. So I activated the yellow onion and I started killing this Bulborb here while the Pikmin is sprouted. That's just so I can do something while I'm waiting. That is another thing in this game. I think I did mention it before, but you want to be doing stuff while other stuff is happening. So for example, say if I'm working on a wall, I'm getting something else at the same time, or say I'm killing something and then other Pikmin are doing something else at the same time. Obviously when you have more than one thing going on at once, it's just better because more things are happening at once and everything's going to get done twice as fast. I think multitasking in this game is actually really interesting because you only have one captain to work with. For example in Pikmin 2 and 3 you have like 2 captains, 3 captains. So it makes multitasking easier, because you can just have one captain on one side of the map, one captain on the other side, and you can just like do 2 things at once. But on this game you kind of have to leave your Pikmin at something, then come back for them later, and I think it's really difficult. I actually think this game is a lot harder than it looks as well, and it's really hard to get good at this game. I wouldn't even say I'm that good at this game. Like, I'm obviously good enough to do it in 8 days, but I'm no expert at this game. Like, there's no way I could get close to world record. But the world record holders, like, they're just incredible at this game and they have so much knowledge of the game. And it's really weird, like, how deep this game actually is. Like, once you speedrun it, you'll have, like, another appreciation for this game. Because casually it is fun, but I don't know, there's just something about it that can't really be said. Like, there's just loads of cool things about it. So yeah, anyway, we're just growing a load of yellows, so really you only need 15 yellows. But I like to grow some extras because number 1, I am just clumsy and I end up losing Pikmin. And I just want to give myself some leeway, and sometimes there's like a glitch on the Wii version where your Pikmin can get crushed through the floor after killing Bulborbs. And I know that's happened sometimes, and you can lose a few Pikmin that way. Sometimes you can lose a lot, sometimes you only lose 1 or 2. Yeah, that's another difference with like the Wii version. Bomb rocks, I didn't really mention it. But when you throw bomb rocks in the Wii version, when you whistle the Pikmin come straight back to you. But in the GameCube version, when you whistle the Pikmin, they drop their bomb rock. So bomb rocks are different in this game, obviously, because you can't really use them. Like, the only way of really getting rid of them is by using them on enemies or walls, or by drowning Pikmin that are carrying bomb rocks. Which can be slow in places, but in a way it does make it safer, and it does make some sections quicker because you can just throw Pikmin and then whistle them rather than walking into them to get the bomb rocks. So I guess that's cool. Another example of having 2 things going on at once is we're moving this part while getting bomb rocks, and as you can see now I'm nectaring up these Pikmin, which obviously if we have the yellows nectared as well, they'll be a bit faster. And obviously if everyone's fast, that's good because we all keep up with each other. So we're going to break down this wall here because there's a lot of ship parts in this direction of the map. So you may be thinking I've only got 1 part so far and we're like halfway through the day. So how are you going to get 5 other parts? And that's just because the first half of the day we spent all of that like growing extra Pikmin, and we grew our yellows and we were getting bomb rocks. So yeah, this is an instance of like bad RNG. I think that was just me playing bad, but sometimes when you swarm a Bulborb, it doesn't, like, the Pikmin don't even kill it, and he ends up eating your Pikmin. I find that enemies in this game are like really unbalanced, and enemies are really hard to kill. I'm not sure if that is intentional or not. Like, if it's intentional, that's quite clever, because the enemies are like one of the hardest things, but if it's not intentional, it's still pretty cool. Because even though I love like Pikmin 3, I find the enemies too easy sometimes. And it just seems like a bit of a joke, and they don't really give much of a threat. But it does make speedrunning easier. But you'll see a lot later on in like the Distant Spring, we're actually going to avoid most of the enemies because it's just quicker to avoid them than to kill them. And plus killing them is actually just so hard to do without losing Pikmin that it's just not worth going for. So we're going to start carrying this part here with all our reds, and with our yellows we're going to be getting loads of bomb rocks. And this can that has bomb rocks in it actually has loads of bomb rocks. Doesn't look like it has many, but it does. So we're just going to throw a Pikmin on here. This is a trick called Water Wall. And basically you're supposed to take out that wall with blue Pikmin. I just left that yellow to drown because it's quicker and I have spare yellows. And plus Pikmin are just dumb. I just don't like having to save Pikmin sometimes, it's just quicker not to. Well, with that wall you're supposed to take it out with blue Pikmin, but you can actually throw a bomb rock on top of it. In the GameCube version it's harder to do because you have to do a momentum throw to it. But on the Wii version you can just put your cursor to the side of the wall and throw a Pikmin, it's really easy to do. So it just skips having to put blue Pikmin on that wall, and obviously we can get this part today rather than on the retrip. Even if Water Wall wasn't possible, this game will still be, I think it'd still be doable in 8 days. You just have to do a different route for this level, basically. We're losing quite a few yellows here. This wall is really annoying to take out. One, because Pikmin have like different mechanics with the way they drop bomb rocks. And two, I think it's because of all the shearwigs, like they get confused because they see the shearwigs and they try and kill them instead. So I'm just throwing a few Pikmin over here. I have 51. I would recommend taking like 51 with you here because you need 50. And obviously if a few die you have leeway. And I think a few of them actually did die. I think, yeah, actually 2 of them died. So that was really unlucky because I actually had to go back out, get like 1 extra Pikmin and go back in this area. Obviously you do have a little bit of leeway with time, but it's nowhere near as much as if you're running the 9-day route, for example. Like, I still have enough time to go back and do this, but this only takes like 10 seconds, so that's not too bad. But if you have quite a few mistakes like that, you won't be able to do it in 1 day. So there we go, we're getting the Extraordinary Bolt, and I think that's the, like, I forgot what that part is called, it's like got a wheel on it. It looks important to me. So we're going to put the rest of our Pikmin up here. And the bomb rocks up there, so you may have wondered why I was putting bomb rocks up there, and that's because there is a black gate up there. And the difference between the gates is the white gates can be knocked down by Pikmin and the black gates can, but the black gates take ages. So it's quicker to just use bomb rocks. If you have access to bomb rocks, just using them on gates is just quicker anyway, even if you can knock them down with Pikmin. I just find it easier as well, and it's just quicker. So right here we have an armored cannon beetle, and the pro way of dealing with him is by running around him and deloading him. But it's pretty difficult to do, and it's just not that beginner friendly, so what I'd recommend for beginners is to just kill him normally. So when he breathes, when he like opens up the thing on his head, he'll open up. And then what you want to do is just throw as many Pikmin as you can, and if you're fast about it you can one-cycle him. Also, as you can see, we're getting cutscenes from the ship part, so you'll usually get the cutscenes around this point, and as you can see, it actually messed me up because I threw a red Pikmin at his like snout, and it actually didn't go in because there was a cutscene at the same time, and for some reason he didn't go in there, so I had to rethrow. I almost like lost all the Pikmin. So there you go, we one-cycled him. You should easily be able to one-cycle him because you have red Pikmin, and red Pikmin do more damage. On the Distant Spring it is slightly harder to one-cycle the Cannon Beetle because you have blue Pikmin. It's still not that hard to do, especially if you're confident at throwing your Pikmin fast. So we're just getting that part over there, and while that's heading back we're just going to be getting the part we left earlier in the day. And after that we'll have every part back, so yeah. That's it over there, it's our last part. You can get this part by, earlier in the day you don't have to get this part down to here, you can just get the part from its original location now. But I just like getting it down here, it just makes the end of day easier and more consistent in my opinion. So here we go, it's like saying hurry up, it's near the end of day. And we did lose quite a few reds and yellows to like the Bulborbs, but we still have plenty of Pikmin because number 1 we had 79 reds at the start, And we also grew extra yellows, so we actually have enough, so we don't really need to worry too much. Obviously, if you lost like a few more than I did lose, I would be worried and I probably would have restarted this day. But I didn't really need to. So last thing to do is obviously just speed up this part. And as you can see, the time is a little bit tight. As you can see, we've got the countdown. So we've just got everything back and we're going to end the day. So that is how you do this area. That's how you get 6 parts in one day. It's pretty hard to do. With a little bit of practice and just effort, I think you'll be able to do it. And yeah, there we go. So next time we're going to be doing day 3. And we're going to be collecting 5 parts there. And we're going to be growing 100 blues. So yeah, stay tuned for that.